I'd like to go back to you, Nabeela, and tell me about your experience. You said you've worked about a year in India with this microfinancing. Was there a specific thing that touched you, something that you felt, this is great?
Mm-hmm. And you know what, I think the special thing about microfinance is that it not only focuses on getting them capital and getting them the money so they can purchase what they need, but it focuses on improving their social conditions in so many ways, in terms of education, in terms of health. And what is predominant in India, for example, is the Muslim communities tend to be the most backward in terms of health, literacy.
But why? Just out of curiosity.
Well, they're a minority in India.
They're a minority.
I'm originally from India too.
150 million is
Out
not
of
a minority.
Well, out of a billion.
Out of a billion.
Yeah, it's a big number, huh?
And it's unfortunate whether it's some religious
And there's a racial
customs
history.
taken-
There's a lot of racism faced to it. I actually traveled to India when I was in high school, and I was managing business, and it's tough for Muslims over there. And as a business person, you know, as an obvious Muslim too, it's not straightforward.
But the
in
consideration
business.
applies to everybody, regardless of religion.
No, definitely.
Poverty is doesn't know bounds of
no
religion.
No, definitely. But I mean, in Hyderabad is 40% Muslim and contains the highest concentration of Muslims within India. And so you find like that all the Muslims are concentrated in the kind of this ghetto area around the old city. And as a Muslim, I'm saying, well, what can I do? How can I make an impact? And so some of the conversations I would sit down with women and say, okay, how did this small loan help you? Now, a lot of these women, for example, were not allowed to leave their house. They were getting beaten by their husbands. Their husbands were alcoholics.
Very sad, huh?
And this is unfortunately a very common story.
And the sad thing is some people do it in the name of Islam, which is totally forbidden in Islam. And we have to highlight this. And it's not Islamic, it's wrong. And it's sad that, you know, they do it, and sad that they're doing it in the name of religion.
Unfortunately, it's probably a byproduct of just low education levels. So these women, they started attending these meetings, putting their funds together, collecting like 10 rupees, 25 cents, the equivalent, putting it together once a month, taking small loans, graduating their loans. Now they're allowed to leave their house. Now they're allowed to educate their children, and all of a sudden they have more clout in the household. The husband doesn't say anything to them, and they're once again the center of the household.
Well, maybe, you know, as a husband, maybe, you know, I want some clout still, but...
I liked, and they're respected, very much so, and it's a lot of a happier situation. So
you feel that made a big difference?
I think phenomenally.
And the challenge is how to bring the high-end financing, as you mentioned, it's the high street financing, which is important, and the microfinancing, and how do we help make things and encourage people at all levels?
Yeah, I can say a little bit on that. Actually, efforts are underway right now. On the one hand, of course, there are the two spheres, and in Bangladesh, the most prominent example, the Grumman Bank of Dr. Yunus, they are in the field and they're doing this work. But now, at the academic level also, there's an effort to bring these two fields together. For example, Harvard University has a very prominent and respectable Islamic law program, the legal faculty at Harvard, and they have this Islamic law project. What they recently did was they did a workshop on microfinance. They said, what can we have Islamic microfinance?
But why was Harvard focusing on Islamic microfinance? Just out of curiosity.
Because they have an annual conference, right?
They have this annual conference, the annual forum, and all these annual forums so far, the 7 forums that have been held over the last 7 years, they have dealt with high finance, macrofinance, and now they said, okay, but the need of the hour, when we talk of 1.6 billion Muslims, they are not all Bill Gates, they are the poor people, the majority, maybe 1.3 million are poor people in Africa and Asia. And when we talk in these forums about Islamic finance, or what happens on Wall Street or on Bay Street in Toronto, has nothing to do with those poor people. So they said, how can we also not have Islamic microfinance? And what are the ways of doing that? And now the next forum in April, to which I have also been invited to be a speaker, next April 28, they are going to have a full session on Islamic microfinance.
But do you see Islamic microfinance and microfinance as two different things? There's special requirements, really?
Not at all. This is only a historical accident that Islamic finance got a start from the petrodollars of the Middle East. You see. But now that benefit has to spread.
I think the model can easily be worked to accommodate and to be Sharia compliant.
Oh, yes, exactly.
And that's the issue. Is I think each one of us has a role. when we talk that $50 and $100 makes a big difference for a poor family and lifts the society, everybody has a responsibility to donate this kind of money. Is there an organization or something we can donate so you know it makes a difference?
There's yeah, no, sorry.
Go ahead.
There's various foundations that are doing this. In fact, there's one website, kiva.org, and I'm totally doing a spot for them right now. But
how do you spell Kiva?
kiva.org.
Yeah.
And you go on this website, and what you can do is you can actually see various entrepreneurs. You can see their loan amounts that they've requested, so-and-so in Iraq, so-and-so in Azerbaijan, so-and-so here. And so you can actually donate 50%, 70% to this person. And they actually blog with you. And they'll actually blog and go online and say, this is the progress of my business. So you can see as a result of your $500 loan, what impacts you're having directly.
But who's facilitating the loans? Who's keeping an eye? There's got to be some supervision, right?
And there's a grassroots level MFI, microfinance institution, that's working in the host country.
Well, we've run out of time. This is a great topic. Maybe we'll discuss it again in the future, inshallah. I'd like to stress that I would like to hear your feedback. Please email us, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please let me know, and would love to hear from you. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa